Hey, Alex, I mean to ask you whether or not you think a person can be a socialist and a Christian at the same time.
I sense this is ContraCast time.
This is the ContraCast time. Yeah, we don't agree on.
It's time where we pretend that we disagree when we really do totally agree.
Well, we can examine opposing views without killing each other, right?
There we go. Exactly. So I will take the position that it is impossible for a Christian to become a socialist, assuming that they understand what is a Christian and what is a socialist. Okay. You can take both points of view if you don't understand both points of view.
Well, then give us your definitions of those two terms to start the ball rolling here.
Well, a Christian is a person who believes that all people are morally corrupt, and the only way that they can be saved from separation from God, which is what they deserve, is by accepting the sacrifice of Jesus Christ as a sacrifice in place of you for your moral failures. A socialist is a person who believes that the most important thing is to structure society so that everything is equal economically, politically, everything is equal, and there is a public access to the means of production. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
And you're saying that you cannot be both at the same time.
That's correct.
Okay. My position is that you can. I disagree with you. And here's my definition of socialism. Socialism does not mean that government owns everything. I'm a Fabian socialist, not a democratic socialist, not a Bernie Sanders socialist. I still believe in private property. I think the socialism does allow for a modicum of private property. For instance, I can own my own car, and you don't have a right to just take the keys and drive away with it, as they tried to do in Russia, and that failed. They tried to do in Venezuela, they didn't even have cars, so they were like donkeys and stuff like that. You can't take my donkey. So I don't believe that socialism necessarily entails that government owns everything. So I'm just going to leave my definition of socialism that. I'm just going to say that my brand of socialism would be that in many cases, it's better that government run the roads, inspect the food, control the power supply, control the energy flow, control the regulations of manufacturing, control the regulations of medical professions and academic professions.
Is there any, with your definition of socialism, is there any venue which is still remain private?
Yes. I can still have my own bakery, mom and pop bodega. I can set up, I can sell boats. I can fish for lobster on my own and sell my lobsters to whoever.
So agriculture has been privatized, maybe privatized.
It probably would be better under my concept of socialism if agriculture, the commercial aspects of agriculture would be commercialized. However, I can still have my own cornfield. I can still grow my own grapes and make my own wine under my version of socialism.
Interesting.
Okay. So it's sort of a hybrid thing of capitalism.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. Now, my definition of Christianity, I'm very much Jordan Peterson on this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm Augustinian on this. St. Augustine once said that if you think that you can understand God, then that's not God. Whatever you think that you understand God, that's not God. Mm-hmm. And he also said that for those who believe in God, no argument is necessary, and for those who disbelieve in God, no argument would ever be sufficient. So I'm Augustinian in that sense, but I'm also Jordan Peterson in the sense that Peterson and I agree that it's better that we live according to the Christian dogmas and doctrines. It's better that we live our lives as ethical beings and agents according to the Sermon on the Mountain. According to the idea of doing unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Being a nice person. Being a nice person.
Yeah, but not only being a nice person, doing the right thing for the right reasons at the right time. Okay? So I know that doesn't satisfy your definition of Christianity or socialism, but that's what I believe.
I see. Well, you are correct. It doesn't satisfy my position because you mostly focus on the external definition of Christianity, which, to be fair, I didn't properly define in my own definition, and I don't mind adopting yours into mine. However, the biggest problem I have with your definition of Christianity is that it's so ambiguous that one can ultimately be a Muslim and adopt your version of Christianity, or a Buddhist.
No, you're right about that.
You know,
The only reference to Christ that I would put into my definition of Christianity is Christ's Sermon on the Mountain. Now, I'm leaving out the gut that you believe in, which is the redemption, the salvation aspect.
Right.
And which is pretty big.
and I would like to point out and this is what stumps a lot of people when they approach Christian theology or just theology in general, is that there is a law in terms of dealing with your day-to-day human interaction, like don't lie, don't murder, blah, that sort of stuff. But there's also an overarching law, which we get this interaction sort of law, the social law. And that is our relationship with God. And you see, the problem, why I can't reconcile Christianity with Marxism, is that Marxism exclusively, the ends qua ends of Marxism is materialism, making everyone economically equal.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the more important purpose in life, which is not achieving economic equality. Is that really the purpose in life? To be average, to be equal with everyone else, to be average?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
it leaves nothing for moral and spiritual excellence, to not be average, but to be holy, to be righteous, which is what I believe Christianity calls us to do, whereas Marxism calls us to be equals.
I think we would agree that Christianity is a good bet to live as a Christian rather than as a Muslim, because the coda for Muslims includes beating your wife to death, circumcising your daughter, and throwing homosexuals off of rooftops. I mean, those are all things that I don't think that living that way is a good way to live. That's my personal opinion. But I do agree with you, and with now Jordan Peterson and I would agree that we ought to live as though all of the Christian doctrines, all of it, even what you believe, it's better that we live that way because it lifts our spirit. It lifts us into a transcendent goal. It points. We aim higher. We aim higher. And if you aim higher rather than lower, you're probably going to be more successful as a person. That's his point. That's
one other thing is that Marxism, by its very nature, you have to pull people down in order to make them equal. That's the goal, is making everyone equal.
Right.
Economically equal, politically equal. The thing in Christianity, with the Christian model, is that it's not so much God is unconcerned with inequality, but rather if you think that a poor person being poor and a rich person being rich is a bad thing, that's the wrong mindset to have. The best mindset to have is this individual, regardless of their economic status, a moral person? A righteous person, a holy person. That's and it doesn't matter if they're dirt poor. If they are living a righteous, godly life, they are in better standing than the rich person that is eating all day and yada yada. It's not to say that the rich are bad people.
As Christ said, you probably know the citation. It's it's difficult for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's like putting a camel through the eye of a needle. I'm sure you know that quotation, Mark.
Oh, yes. I love how socialists love pointing that out. They act as though Jesus hated money. It's not true at all.
No, he didn't hate money, no.
No, but he's very clear. He did hate the love of money. And nobody loves money more than materialists, because that ultimately is, they love other people's money. They love it
because it brings power, because they're only interested in power.
Wait a second, you're supposed to be arguing against me, you. Stop agreeing with me here.
Anyway, I thought it was an interesting debate, just to show you folks that we don't always agree. We hope you don't always agree, but we can be civilized about it. We hope you can be civilized about it.
Well, we're not civil with each other. Come on.
What?
We're not civil with each other. We spraying our toxic masculinity all over.
But anyway, thank you for following us and liking us and sharing us, and thank you for your contributions to keep us going. Appreciate it.
God bless you, my wonderful friends.
See you, Alex. Bye-bye.
See you, my dear friend. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.